All right. Anke
Aluten Umten, Sinette.
Okay.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so blessed and so grateful for another opportunity to speak with the beautiful mothers here today. We are going to be doing our second, what we're going to call it, an episode or conversation, discussion, healing session.
Second session. That works.
Here we go for mothers. And we have a wonderful conversation for y'all today, a very much needed conversation. It has so many layers to it. And we have the beautiful Mekatira here who's going to offer her wisdom and her experience. And we have the beautiful Amakeda Imaati who's going to offer her beautiful voice, her creativity, and her experiences and wisdom to this discussion. And I am Kaiti Sekamin Ankh Najar, a good friend and the one who is empowered through meditation. So I'm going to guide you through some meditation today. Okay. So let us begin with our beautiful Alsetian chant. We are coming, as always, to honor the great mother, the beautiful Alset, and her existence in and around us, and to invoke her and honor her in word, thought, and deed. So Amakeda is going to bless us with a beautiful song.
Do I. Thank you, Sinette. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here for another conversation with the Pearl En Mwtu. And yes, as the sister said, I'm going to be blessing you all with an Ossetian chant. And without further ado, here we are. Anajara Kose, great and glorious Ose, Anajara Ose, glorious Neteret. The day is done and the night has come. The sun has set and the stars will burn. Anajara Ose, waiting glorious sunset, and Nazareth all set, glorious Nazareth. The evening light to start the day of fine. At your instruments sound, praises all around, and Nazareth all set, waiting glorious sunset, and Nazareth all set, waiting glorious sunset. Candles lit, I raise my fire high. I raise them up to you, mood all set, so divine. Nighttime it's dry. Sweetly grace the sky to put me in the mind to receive you. My intuitive guide, a Nazareth all set, waiting glorious sunset, a Nazareth all set, glorious Nazareth. Rise behind me, my golden flame. Rush against my neck, your wings, they open up my name. I lift up my hands to receive your grace. Over me from an exalted place, a Nazareth all set, waiting glorious all set, a Nazareth all set, glorious Nazareth, a Nazareth all set, waiting glorious all set, a Nazareth all set, glorious Nazareth, a Nazareth all set, waiting glorious all set, a Nazareth all set, glorious Nazareth.
Do I netter? Do I netter? Go ahead, Amakeda. Yes, that was a beautiful. Thank you so much for that beautiful voice offering to our set. That just
Thank you.
raised the spirit up. So, I mean, before we even begin, let's just give the people who may be new to Kemetic spirituality a little bit more understanding of why we honor the energy of Offset. What is Offset? What does she represent? Especially as we are, honoring the mothers during this time in this discussion. Anybody want to talk about that a little bit?
Aset is the divine Mwtw. She is the divine Neteret. And many of you may be familiar with the term Neteret. It is, in layman's terms, the word we use for a female goddess, a female deity. She is that mothering deity that governs over us. She is the one who teaches us about intuitiveness, about devotion, about motherhood. She is the mother of Heru and the wife of Asar. She is that energy that we look to when we're looking for guidance on how to manage our motherly affairs with our children, when we're looking to be steadfast and to move through a very difficult situation, but stay intact, stay wholesome, stay unbothered by those trials and tribulations. This is the energy that Aset represents. She is that sister of Nebuchadnezzar, for those of you who may be familiar with Nebuchadnezzar. And we know that Aset was challenged. She was challenged significantly by having the love of her life, Asar, taken from her and chopped into 14 pieces, scattered throughout the Nile. And she had to work tirelessly, along with her sister Nebuchadnezzar, to reassemble him, to put him back together, to use her wings to breathe life into Asar. And that is how he came to be resurrected and made whole again. This is Aset, what she does. So this is why we honor her as divine mother, divine Mwtw.
Yes, Dua, and I think that's very powerful, as you mentioned, the mythology and the story of Aset and the remembering of Asar, the divine masculine. And that is going to be very important as we begin to talk about today. Our topic is, when is it a good time to date as a single mom, as one who might have just gotten out of a relationship, or who has been, has not dated in a long time. And we're remembering like that work of Aset of being devoted to finding Asar and finding the divine masculine, bringing them and putting them back together. Like, who wants to really do all that work but someone who has the heart and spirit of Aset? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that is a high standard to really live up to, the great Aset. She also reminds us to, she encourages us to like really harness and nurture who we are and our divinity within us, So even on a spiritual level, she's reminding us that, we have gifts, we have talents, we have certain aspects of ourselves that we have to nurture, that we have to remember, that we have to, pour into on a regular basis. And so we give thanks to that divine energy of the divine goddess, the great mother. And we are going to move into our sacred relationship today. We are going to be talking about relationships. And this is a discussion that is important for Kemetic women, but also for all mothers and women in general, especially, if you've had negative relationships, or you've had challenging relationships, and then there's still that part of you that wants love and that wants to find your divine mate. And, and then there's also that issue of, okay, I have children, I have to keep them protected. So we're gonna have a good discussion about that. And the first thing that when me and Amakita, I'm messing up your name, Sinette. Amakita, me and Amakita have been having this discussion. We've talked about this a number of times. We just had open discussions and shared our experiences. But, one of the things we know, that the first key is you have to be ready for a relationship. And the way that you're ready for a relationship is, again, loving and honoring yourself, taking that time to truly nurture your divinity, to truly nurture who it is that you are. So what we're going to do now is our sacred, before we go into our meditation, let me get my space ready. We are going to do our sacred relationship, one of my favorite songs. And this song I give to, this song is created by, the beautiful and the wonderful Queen of Fua and some of those divine sisters.
Okay.
So we're just going to start off with that, because before we even talk about loving someone else, we really have to have that love for ourselves and go through the healing process
Yes.
You've been in a relationship, you have to go through the healing process. So hopefully this will work, and y'all can move with me, okay?
Okay, let's see, sis.
You
What you got?
know, we just start off here. Love yourself. Simply to be who I am, just to believe that who I am is perfect. Looking in the mirror, here's my chance. Letter to myself, and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I wrote a letter to myself, and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I looked at my face, my eyes, my smile, and that's when I realized it had been here all the while. I looked at myself, so strong, tall and proud. I looked in my heart, and I knew love was found. I wrote a letter to myself, and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. Hey, I wrote a letter to myself, and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day.
I love it. I love it.
That was beautiful.
Oh, do I? Thank you. So we want to talk about, once you have mastered love for yourself, okay, and that's a process you go through daily, about self-care and honoring and knowing who you are and where you stand, and honoring your values and your morals and living what you say you believe. Then it might be time for you to seek another. But the healing of the heart is important, so
Absolutely.
I
And
think
let me just say shout out to Queen Afu with her beautiful voice.
yeah,
I'm like, wow, that's her singing that song.
that might not be her singing it. That she did a beautiful album. I don't know when it came out, but I know it's not available right now. But it's a Sacred Woman album. She had a compilation of many beautiful sisters and voices on there. The Sacred Women's voices. And so that might not have been her specifically, but that is a part of her work. It's all inspired by what she taught about the gateways, And so sacred relationships, she teaches us about sacred relationships, And I think that's something that, a lot of us don't learn unless we go through initiation, unless we go through the African pathways, or our parents encouraged and taught us about relationships. A lot of us learn by default and learn from a lot of mistakes, a lot of challenges, and so what we want to say that again.
A lot of baggage that we carry.
A lot of baggage.
And we need
That's
to
right.
heal from that.
So that has to be emptied out. You know, to me, I think that people will continue to be, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, we'll continue to have failing relationships with the divine masculine until we really release some of that baggage and open up the heart, you know, more, and heal the heart, do the heart healing work that is required. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's part of what we're going to talk about today. So
Yes, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get all into it.
yes.
Mhm.
All right. So do we want to go into the meditation, or do we want to go into our meditation?
Yes, let's go ahead and jump into that meditation. And you're gonna lead us through that, sis. And
I
then,
am going to lead us through a little meditation. And today's energy, you know, I kind of want to invoke the energy of Het Haru, because she governs relationships, you know. And I'm also want to honor Mwtw for this beautiful poem or prayer that I'm going to share with you once we open up the heart a little bit. But yeah, I want to just thank and you know, the importance of imagination, the importance of invoking joy in order to really have healthy relationships, to have relationships that are fulfilling. So let us begin with the breath. Okay, so I want you to, you know, if you're sitting in a chair, just find your sacred seat, and we begin by just relaxing the body. If you're in a chair, bring your feet flat so you could just really be grounded. And I want you to, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, relax your shoulders, relax your face, soften your belly. Now bring your attention to your breath, this ebb and flow, in and out, slow and deep breaths. Again, the breath is one of our most precious gifts that we received at birth, and it works for us whether we are aware of it or not. But it's definitely a powerful tool when we are aware of it and we utilize the breath. In this moment, ignore all the background sounds, and I want you just to breathe in and out, and just let go of anything that may be stuck, or, you know, any negative feelings you might have had. As you exhale, see it releasing from the body as a certain color, whatever color you want. And as you're inhaling, you're breathing in that shekel, that power, that vital life force energy that exists within the oxygen, that exists within the air and the breath. Taking in more power, more wisdom, and more love with each inhale. And with each exhale, we're releasing heartbreak. We're letting go of sorrow. We're letting go of regret. We're letting go of any negative experiences, any sexual woundedness, because we're letting ourselves be in a receptive mode. Let your heart open and make room for all the good of the universe to come in. Make room for all of the gifts from the netters and the netteroos to come to you. So if you seek love, you seek romantic love, or you seek a higher level of love, whatever it is, whatever you are seeking, it is seeking you. So continue throughout this practice to just relax and allow. See yourself using your Het Haru faculty, power of your imagination, to envision the love that you desire. And we'll also use words of power to invoke and attract the energy of Heharu. Beautiful one, Heharu, glorious eye of Ra, fairer than all the Neteret, lady of song, lady of dance and of music. Heharu, giver of pleasure and restorer of the imagination. Please increase our ability to imagine that which is most beautiful and productive for our lives. You are the one that watches over the growth in the womb. There are things incubating inside of us that we wish to manifest. Could you please aid us, Heharu? You are the most fragrant and attractive force in all of creation. May we be as fragrant and attractive as you are. Heharu, owner of all the wealth and abundance.
Hey, what's up?
We ask that you please bless us and give us the power of wealth and abundance so that we may serve you even more. Heharu, drawer and magnet for love. Bring love into our lives and into our hearts so that we may be a magnet in your honor. Teach us the mysteries of mysteries, O Heharu. Teach us the way to bring sweetness to our lives. Duan Neteret Heharu. Nejeret Neteret Heharu. Anuk Neteret Heharu. Oh, beautiful Eye of Ra, it is you alone who are able to bring laughter and a smile to the great one Ra. It is only you who knows the mysteries of the Ka'iti Imsha. It is you, Heharu, who know the secrets to entering into the soul of pleasure and use that pleasure to bind all things into existence. You are the beauty of Ra rising and Ra setting. If it were not for you, Heharu, what would exist? Please open our hearts and heal our hearts. You are the force and source behind all unions and attractions. Attract our devotion to our Set Ra, and may she be attracted by the sweet fragrance of love. Bring to us all Heharu. Bring to us all that is needed to make this world more beautiful and more sacred. Shai. Begin to bring your awareness to your heart. I want you to place your left hand at your heart center, your right hand at your belly button, and just breathe energy into the heart. May our hearts be as light as feathers. May we understand the highest level of love, the highest levels that love can reach. May we experience true love and every good thing our heart desires. May we take nothing personal. May we understand that every experience has served us and has given us more wisdom, more love, and more power. Let us be open to a divine discussion about a very complex issue so that we can make the right decisions for ourselves and for our children and for the divine ones that we attract. Dua Neta Neteret. When you're ready, you can bring your attention back to the screen as we prepare ourselves for this discussion. All right.
That was very nice, very nice. So
Yeah.
appropriate to set the tone, Sinette. Thank you, thank you. And now that we have gotten our hearts centered and our energy correct, we want to move into another cleansing experience. We have just gone through a full moon, and I think it came in on the 2nd of September. So since we are now at the 3rd of September, the moon, we're still feeling the effects of that full moon. And in the full moon is a time when we manifest things into existence. We set our intentions on the new moon, but on that full moon, we manifest it into existence. We make it whole, and we reap the harvest of that energy that we resonated on, and we focused and concentrated and meditated on during that moon. With that being said, oftentimes we need sacred movement to help balance us and to help us be able to really harness that energy as we're going through these moon cycles. As women, many of us are very in tune with the moon. It has a dynamic effect on us. And in light of that, that movement oftentimes helps us to really center ourselves so that we can prepare for really doing that work during the time when we are harnessing meditations, we're creating altars, we're doing altar work, and we're preparing to really deal with our divine purpose during that new or full moon. So I have created what's called a moon dance. It is a cleansing dance, and I want to walk you through what it is. It's not really about getting your groove on. It's not that kind of dance. It is a dance to clear your space, to remove negative energy from you as you prepare for your altar work. It is a dance that allows you to concentrate on birthing new things into existence, on creating, because that is what we do as women. Our womb is the center of creation, and through us, many things are created and birthed into existence. So that is what the essence of this movement is. I'm going to share with you now. And after we've shared this movement, we're going to jump into this discussion and really deal with it. So I wanted to start by getting you all to see this movement, this dance. And Sister Kaiti, you can join me if you like, because I know you've seen the dance already. So I'm going to call on you to hop on up and join me. And for those of you who are viewing, please feel free to use this dance when you are preparing yourself to do meditational work, or you're preparing yourself to get divinely connected and seek yourself, so that you can first cleanse your space, create newness in your space, and then be able to harness all of that good energy from doing this cleansing dance. There are 4 steps in this dance. They're all done in a series of 4. So every movement will be done 4 times. And what we do on one side is what we do on the other. You will notice that I am going to first just show you the steps one by one. And after I have shown you those steps, then I'm going to add some music and we're going to do those steps. Like Sister Kaiji, she's already ready. Let me move my pillow. I'm over here in comfort, you guys. Let me see. Are you able to see me, guys? Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful and perfect. I'm going to just move this camera just a little bit back so that I don't have to stand so far away. All right. I want to put my head. So again, what's done on one side is done on the other. You want to open up those arms and you want to focus on cleansing your space. And this movement here, where I am sweeping and cleaning, this is where I cleanse my aura, cleanse the space around my aura, and remove all negative energy. And again, we do the same thing on the left side. We cleanse, making a nice large circle with your arms to cleanse that space. And we cleanse that space. Once we have cleansed, we want to take our hands here and place in that lovely pyramid position. We bring that hand to our third eye. We raise it up to the ethers. We open up to receive all of the beautiful gifts and abundance that the ethers have to offer us. We bring our hands back down together, and we would then bring it all the way down into that birthing, offset birthing position, to birth these ideas into existence. Bring it back up. Once again, we'll do that for 4 times. Once we've done that for 4 times, we will then open up. We want to open up here and then begin to take that same pyramid and bring it in this downward motion so that we can push all those wonderful ideas into existence. And we will push. So you're rolling that hand up here. You see that angle? You're rolling that hand up. And you're rolling it up to push forth and bring forth and give birth to all those great ideas when you are setting your intentions during the new moon and manifesting during the full moon. Final moon, we're going to once again open up, turn to this, the left, we can call it the left because it's my left. And from here, you bring those hands together. And once again, you're cleansing, looking over that shoulder as you cleanse, sweeping away all that negative energy and harnessing the brightest, best energy, moving to your opposite side. And once again, you're cleansing all energy. These are the 4 sacred movements that we're going to do. And always look over that shoulder as you cleanse, because you always want to see where you come from, but focus on where you're going. That's the reason why we look over that shoulder. Ladies, I'm going to add some music now, and you all can feel free to join, hop in on this movement. I'm hoping that you can hear it. So we're going to go ahead and begin to share it, and then we can get started. Are you guys able to hear? Are you hearing it? Yep. All right, beautiful. That's good to know. I don't hear it. Let's get started anyway. All right, ladies. First step is to cleanse. Open up those arms and cleanse 4 times.
Nefasanet, so much creativity. Oh, Heharu has blessed you. So much creativity.
Thank you. And that is our moon dance. You can feel free to do that again slower if you like to be done slower. You can do it faster. Whatever the energy is you're working with, totally fine. But it's just to cleanse and open up your space, and then you're ready to receive, because you just release all negative energy and you're open to receiving the blessings now. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this topic of dating for single moms.
Yes,
okay.
Dating for single moms.
Dating with the single
Okay,
mom.
so one of the first things I think we want to talk about, what's the reasons why we choose to date? When do we know that we're ready to date? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, why do we choose to date? I think the basic reason why we choose to date is because we have come to a place where we want to have that mate to share this experience of life with us. One thing that we don't want is to be lonely, not just to be alone. That's different, but to be lonely. Because sometimes being alone is good. You need to be by yourself and just deal with yourself and work through all the stuff in your own self, and that's fine to be alone sometimes. But that differentiates a lot from being lonely. And as we begin to get older and our children, start growing and they don't need mommy so much, that's when that loneliness really starts to kick in. And I think that's when we're starting to say, oh, well, I need someone to here for me.
Yes, and I think that for me in the stage that I'm in right now, just getting out of a relationship that was very challenging. At this point, I really have no desire to be in a relationship anytime soon. And I think that's good because you definitely need that time to heal in between relationships. Let's talk about, we've had that conversation before about how much time do you think it takes a person to like prepare, heal, to get ready for a new relationship?
I'm going to say, I think you should at least give yourself a good solid 9 months to be out of a relationship before you even consider getting back out there. And I say 9 months, and that's a minimum. I said at least 9 months. I say that because it takes 9 months to birth a child into existence, to create life, and during that time, you are creating the foundation, the brain, the heart, the lungs, everything that will make this human being be fit to live and survive in this world. If it takes that long to create a life, you need to give yourself at least that time to cleanse yourself of everything that has happened to you in that previous relationship, to get that person off of you. Because as women, we're internal. We receive all of the stuff that's coming from this relationship, be it, emotional things or physical things. We are the receivers. And as the receivers, it takes time for us to cleanse ourselves and get that former mate out of our system. So you can't jump back in any earlier than that, or you are doing yourself a serious disservice. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think definitely taking that time to cleanse away whatever, you also have to look at yourself and be honest with yourself because, relationships, maintaining them are very challenging. Our Kemetic word for love is myrrh, and it's a symbol of a hoe, or a garden tool, a plow. It means it requires work,
Yeah.
and so we're not here to demonize any gender when it comes to failed relationships. Like I've had negative relationships, but I'm not here to demonize the divine masculine in that situation. I can recognize that there might have been some things that I did in that relationship that were out of order, that were things I learned from my mom or I learned from other people, observing other people's relationships that weren't healthy. And so you have to really kind of take some time to reflect and to look at yourself, look at that person, look at why you attract that situation or that person, why it didn't work, so that when you go into a new situation, it can start with a clean slate. It can start off on a better, on a better footing or a better foundation. It can start off on the foundation of my eye because you've already kind of balanced out yourself, your heart, what you need to do in order to be open and ready for true love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you have to really prepare yourself to make sure you're in a healed space.
Yes.
So you're not taking more baggage into that next relationship. And when I say baggage, I mean your hurt feelings, your disappointment you may have experienced, your expectations that weren't fulfilled. And when we do this, we find ourselves getting into another relationship with someone, and you get into your first argument or so, and you're still fussing at that person for the injury of the last person.
Come on.
Yeah. You're,
Yes.
you're having a continuation of the conversation that you were just having with your last mate, but now you're having with the new boo, which is an indication that you didn't heal from the first experience.
You didn't do the work. You did not
You
do
haven't
the
done
work.
work.
Yeah. So you're gonna have the same reoccurring issues. You know what I mean? Like until you learn the lesson, you're gonna have that same experience. You know. So, Mekatira, you want to share anything? What do you think about this?
I do. I also think that that gives you time to think about what it is that you need.
Mm.
You know, based on your last relationship, you know what was missing that created a void between the two of you. You took responsibility for what you did or did not do. And I think that during this 9 months, I agree, you know, with some people it may be more than 9 months. It gives me a chance to look at exactly what my needs are. What are my expectations? And are they fair expectations of that person? So, yeah.
I like
I
that.
agree with
like
everything.
Fair. Absolutely. I think Sister Kaiti and I were talking about that. Sometimes we have that understanding that this person is going to come and save us.
Mm.
They're going to complete us and make us whole. And is that a fair expectation to have of a person? You know, you're putting a lot of responsibility on that person to bring you to a place where you really needed to have done that yourself. You know, we have to stop as broken people trying to pair ourselves with equally broken people. And I see that happen all the time. You know, you say, oh, well, you know, I got issues and he got issues, so we're going to be good together.
No.
Said, no, you're not going to be together. That's a disaster.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's excellent, Amakeda, you know, that you bring that up, because things are going to keep recurring until you actually deal with it. You're going to keep, because it's really ultimately when you're dealing with relationships, it's really a relationship with yourself and God. It's all a reflection of that. It's like a relationship is a reflection of your relationship with yourself, your divine self, and the Netzeru. Like, are you, you know, have you nurtured yourself? Have you done the things you need to do for yourself so that when you do give to someone else, because when we talk about ma'at and real love, that's a higher level of love. It's really about giving, seeking nothing in return. It's really about giving from a higher space, you know. And so if you're not ready for, and it's about reciprocity too. So if you have a person who is an energy vampire or who doesn't understand these laws about reciprocity, give and take, or what true love is, you know, y'all gonna be competing and there's gonna be all this conflict instead of harmony. And that's what true love to me will reflect, harmony. You know, like no matter if we have disagreements, in the end, we can always come to, you know, compromising, because it's all about us continuing to flow together and to build together.
You said it. You said it, Sinette. And I think that's an amazing segue into talking about what are our guidelines? What is the criteria that we use when we're actually trying to select a mate? Okay. So what are some of the things that we are looking for to see that, okay, this person is worthy. This person has shown that they are deserving of being able to be aligned with me. And when I say deserving, I mean that because we oftentimes match ourselves with people who are not equally meshed with us. You know, we're ready to go the extra mile and do the work and be the nurturer and be the housekeeper and be all of that. But then they're not meeting that.
They're not
you
meeting
know.
them.
So the person who qualifies to be your mate, what is the selection, the guideline that we're using to determine if this person is even worthy of being a mate?
Yeah, that's a powerful question. You know, I would say, you know, for me, in the last relationship that I was in, when I first met this individual, I was looking at certain qualities, and a lot of them was based on my spiritual beliefs at that time, which was I was new into Kemetic spirituality, and I just wanted a man that was conscious and righteous and healthy, you know. healthy and exhibited certain qualities, but there were still things that I was overlooking. So that person kind of wore a mask and pretended to be a conscious person, pretended to be a person that had a sovereignty over their emotions when they really they were broken, you know, and so, and needed healing. So I really, in that relationship, I really should have just stayed as a healer and a teacher to that person as opposed to their mate. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah.
How long
It's
did it
interesting.
take for the person to expose himself?
Mm. Yeah, that's a good question. At this point in time, I feel like you need to know a person at least for all 4 seasons, and whether that's in a year time where you go to summer, winter, spring, or fall, or if you're going through the different challenges and transformations that take place. Like, you really need to give yourself time. Like, some people are jumping into bed with people, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying we shouldn't be jumping into bed with people if we really haven't taken the moment to really get to know them and see them when they're having good days, when they're having bad days, when they lose someone, when they go through adversity, when they're challenged, you know, and that's a longer process, you know, because that physical attraction might be so strong that you're not even clear enough. That's why the divination is important, and we're going to talk about the importance of getting readings once you start feeling something for a person. Like, that's key, because that can give you that data or that information you need that you might not be able to get directly from that person, because they could be wearing a mask, or they could just be a broken person. So what do you think, Amakeda?
Now, I think Moot's question was, how long did it take him to expose himself?
For me, okay. Specifically for me, it took really, when we moved in together, the first, this person pursued me for about 3 years. They came to my yoga classes. They brought green drinks and ginger drinks. I thought they were a very healthy person when they weren't a really healthy person, and that's a challenge for me. They cursed a lot more than I liked. The communication, like when they were talking to me, they engaged as if they were a wise person, and they studied the teachings of our ancestors. And I mean, he's still a very intelligent person. He studies that, but there was another part of him that he did not show until about a year, to be quite honest. And then it got worse after I was pregnant, and then it really it was just the ugliest. I didn't even foresee that, and the problem is, we did the reading ourselves. We knew readings were important, but we did it ourselves. We didn't have someone outside of us do the readings for us. We did them ourselves, and I don't think that's a good idea when you're so closely connected to outcome and you're already catching feelings for that person. So I'm just being transparent there. That was, I can see where I could have approached that. Now, as a more mature woman, 5 years later, and a baby later, I would say I'm not interested in any relationship unless certain things are done and I get to know that person for a longer period of time,
Yeah, for sure. And I think the first step would be companionship. You just want someone that you can communicate with on your level.
Yes.
You're not, and that's when I mentioned being fair, it's what is it that I'm looking for? Am I looking for a companion relationship, male, female, but just someone that I can go out with. We can go to the movies, we can go to functions, but not bring him home. Especially if I have children, I don't want to expose my children to him right away.
Yes.
If we're out, if there's some kind of family function, he's there, I'll introduce my children to him. But I would not bring him into my home because my children are my priority. So it's like I'm going out on a date. They don't need to know any more than that. You go out, you do what you need to do, and you come home. You're happy. You're just
balanced. It's balanced.
Balanced. And you're able to do what you need to do for your children. But to bring the man home, I think, is our number one mistake. You know, when we bring him home too early, especially when we already have a family, when we have children, we don't want them to see that.
Yes.
Just
I wish I would have had that wisdom a few years
Right?
ago. That was my problem.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, because we do have needs that, you know, we want to be taken care of and all. And it goes beyond a movie, a dinner, or whatever. So I understand that as an older woman, but to bring him home, I do believe it's a big mistake. That we should not bring him home in our house, especially when our children are over the age, I'm gonna say, I used to say 7, like the age of reasoning, but that I'm gonna drop it down, like maybe 5. After 5, they can do the math 1 and 1. It's like they're going to bed, but they're looking at him saying, well, where is he gonna sleep? So they put it together. I know my daughter put it together at 3.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was an uncle, but she didn't know uncle. She just knew somebody else was in the house. It was her bedtime. She said, I'm not sleepy. I said, but it's your bedtime. And she looked, she says, well, where is him gonna sleep? And so, you know, children are thinking, children are processing, children know that you are theirs.
Yes.
We don't want that to be threatened or challenged at that young age.
Yes.
So that's why I say, whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever your needs are, it's on the outside. It's you and that person that you're having a relationship with. But it would really start out as a companionship. It's just someone, I enjoy his company. And while you're enjoying his company, you're finding out more and more about him. So.
Do offer that. That's the fullness right there. You know, that's the root of our conversation too. That's it.
Yeah, we definitely going to explore and talk about that, because that is a conversation that needs to be dug into a little deeper. I appreciate those sentiments. Yes. Okay. So when we're talking about guidelines for what the criteria is, I know you have begun to talk about what your guidelines for society. For me, I think my guidelines of what I'm looking for is, does he respect the things that I hold dear? Does he value those things that are important to me? You know, and like you said, people can put on a facade, so they can pretend to, but when you look deeper, you begin to see that this is all just not true. If you're really giving yourself that time to explore, you know, and I use myself as an example. I was dating a man, and he pulled the wool over my eyes. I thought he was a conscious brother. I thought he was vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. You know, he had the locks. I had the locks. I'm thinking, oh, we're a great match here. We're natural. We're vegetarian. We're pro-black. You know, we going all the way here. And as I would begin to invite him to functions and things that were sacred to me, I'm also a dancer. I love African dance. I would invite him to those things, and I would notice the way he would withdraw and not have any desire to partake in it. You know, on one event, we went to a dance. It was a little bit of a dance workshop, and we had drove, you know, quite a long ways, over an hour to get there. And the young lady who was teaching the class, she said one thing to him. She said, you know, brother, I ask that you don't record the class. And I felt that was perfectly normal. No issue with that there. Because, I mean, if they don't want you to record their class, it's okay. He got so upset about that he went out and sat in his car for the remainder 2 hours of the workshop and refused to come back inside. And that was like a big warning sign to me, like, what? I invited you to this event that was important to me, and it's like you found any excuse you could to get out of there, you know, and stay and withdraw yourself from it. And that right there is something that is very important to me, that you value the things that are important to me. And if you don't value them, then be honest about where your interest level is. You know, putting on that facade, that being a fraudulent individual, a charlatan, those are all things that are deal breakers for me. You know, lack of honesty, lack of interest in the things that are important to me, lack of respect for my household rules. And I have a nice amount of household rules. But that's for good reason. That's for good reason. You know, I set the standard high. I do. I'm so serious. Like, you can't walk in my house with your outside shoes on.
Come on.
You can't. You
Yeah,
can't
sacred
just come in
space.
any kind of way.
Mhm.
You can't be touching stuff that's sacred and dear to me. You
That's
know, you have to
right.
respect that. I'll just grab myself and like, oh, this pretty rock. What is that? Like, oh no, that's not sacred stone. You can't just, you know. So those kinds of things, that shows me whether this person is even almost qualified to be a part of my space and be a part of my story.
Ashe. I think something you mentioned in there that we could start talking about now is, you know, when are we aware of the signs that there could be abuse or toxicity? You know, becoming aware of that and being able to recognize signs that this person, like you gave an example, you know, something you really loved, and you know, he found a way to remove himself, and just, you know, like, well, it's so petty, but you're like, okay, that's deep right there. That's giving me information that I can use, you know. And sometimes we ignore those signs, you know. And I think, I know I did in my previous relationship. I ignored a lot of things that I was like, oh, he gonna, you know, that time, wanting it to be what I wanted it to be, trying to make him into who I think he should be, instead of really saying, this is who this person is, and I need to look at that and need to see if that's going to work for me. So what are first of all, we need to let our sisters know what are some of the signs of abuse and toxicity. That's important. Sometimes a lot of young women, they don't know until they're in an abusive relationship.
What are the signs of an abusive relationship or toxic relationship? I want to say, because we all go into with rose-colored shades on when we start. When you begin to take those shades off and you start to inquire about things that this person has previously said to you, when they're no longer able to speak about it with a level of conviction or just to confirm it, and you start noticing that there are lies being told. When you notice dishonesty coming from that person, that's a huge sign of some toxic behavior going on here. Because dishonesty is oftentimes premeditated, you know, and it's also the root to other things. Like my mother always said, if you lie, you cheat. If you cheat, you'll steal. So we have to really look at that and see, you know, where is that person at? You know, and again, you know, just to look into my own experiences, I was with a gentleman who made lots of claims in the beginning. You know, he even went as far as saying he had a degree in homeopathic healing and herbology, you know, because that's something that's very dear to me. I love that stuff. So, you know, you got some good brownie points when you said that. And a couple of months later, I revisited the discussion with him, because I could not remember for the life of me what he said he had a degree in, but I knew it was something really good. So I asked him, I said, well, what did you say you had a degree in again? And he looked at me and he said, you know what I have a degree in. So, you know, so he was defensive.
Yeah.
He would not dare repeat it.
Yeah.
And it just that was a red flag for me. I ignored that red flag. I did not harbor on it. I should have said, wait a minute now. Let's deal with exploring this right here. The fact that you are not even able to re-verbalize what you said, because there's an indication right there. This is a dishonest person. He's being dishonest with you. And he's afraid to revisit it because he don't want to get caught in his lie, you know? So I think those are signs of a toxic relationship when you start noticing dishonesty.
Yes. Yeah, I also would say, again, when they respond with with aggression or with
Yes.
anger, in any way, when you question them and try to verify information, or just period, if you can't communicate with that person about any subject,
Yes.
that right there might be a sign, because relationship, that communication is key to maintaining and growing in a relationship. So if y'all can't talk about anything, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and
Yeah.
and it's not authentic, it's not honest, it's not based in truth in my eye, then that right there is just shut it down, because women need to communicate. You know, we enjoy that communication, and we love listening to our men. We got our sisters, we got our Sinettes, we got our mothers and aunties that we can talk to, but it's a different level when you can have that deep, enriching conversation with a man. And so you need the men to be authentic, to be honest, and to be open to any type of conversation. I mean, from the get, you know, like, let's talk about this, right? So
Right.
I would say communication. If they cussing at you and any, you know, talking to you crazy, disrespecting you and with the language or calling you names, shut that on down. Shut it on down.
I'm sorry, ladies. The sun is setting over here, so I had to turn on some light.
You're fine,
But no, you're right. Communication is so important. If you're with a person that you cannot communicate, honey, iced tea, that you cannot communicate with, and the conversations become, you know, inflamed, and the anger surfaces when you start having basic conversations, that's a sign right there that you're with the wrong person, and there's something toxic happening here.
Yeah. We have to be able to see if we're compatible with people, and compatibility is on different levels. If you're going to really go deeper, like Queen Mekatera was saying, you know, like if you're just dating someone, they're not coming into your home, it's just companionship, that's a different level. So that means you want to be with someone who you feel comfortable going out in public with, you feel comfortable being in their environment. You know, they're not doing toxic things like smoking around you or over drinking around you or anything. Like, you just feel comfortable in their presence. That's a certain level of compatibility. But when you take relationships to the next level, you got to look at communication, you have to look at finances, you have to look at how they are with children, if you're going to be going to that next level. So compatibility is key, you know.
You're absolutely right about that. And you spoke about finances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important too. How does he handle his money?
It's important, but you'll also see these things when you go out. Do you share the same interests? I mean, truly, is he just there because you like it, or is it something that he can go to and get involved with? It's who are his friends? You're going to see the circle of people that he interacts with.
True.
And when you see, what is my mother always said, flock together. So, you know, if his friends are about smoking and drinking, fussing and cussing, then chances are that's what this brother is all about.
Yes.
These are things that you can't overlook. He may be okay one-on-one with you for 2 hours while you're sitting in a movie or out to dinner. But no, you know that's not one that you want to bring home.
Right.
You know? I mean, even when you're out having dinner, how does he eat? You know, what is his conversation? You know, just from dating a brother, if this is someone that you want to bring home, you invite him to your hut, your spiritual house of worship. Can he relate to that? You know, does he make excuses every other Sunday why he can't make it this time?
Exactly.
Then you know this is not a brother that you want to take to the next level, no matter how good he looks, how he feels when he touches your arm. I mean, you know, all of that is real, but he's just not the one to take to that next level.
Yes.
So you know right away, you just have to be honest with yourself. Because if you say, oh, no, it was just, he had a cold. If you start making excuses for him
Yeah.
and take him to the next level, then that's on you.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be hard getting rid of him.
Yes, it really is. That's a good point. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you. That is a good, very good point, because we often do that. We start making excuses.
Yep.
We don't want to go back to being alone at that point. And we start finding any old reason. Well, you know, it's getting ready to be fall, and I don't want to be alone in the fall and go through that winter season with no boo. You know,
Right.
so we start making all kinds of ridiculous excuses for why we need to have this person hold on to them, even though we've seen that they are toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what takes us back to looking at, okay, we see red flags.
Mm-hmm.
We're ignoring them oftentimes. We are doing that. But how does this affect and impact us emotionally when we stay in that relationship with this man? Because remember,
and then how will it impact our children if we, that's going to the next level. We got, like Nekatera said, your children, that's your first priority. Their well-being, what they're exposed to.
Yes.
So that, that is, it's going to be how it affects you emotionally, because if it affects you negatively emotionally, that definitely impacts the child, whether that man is in the home or not, right? Because we'll project stuff on our babies and things of that nature. But then when they're in the home, they have to see arguing, fussing, toxic behavior, things that you wouldn't expose them to, because you done brought someone in the house way before the time was right, and he wasn't the one to bring in the home, and now you have a hot mess. I'm talking about my story.
That's our story. We've all done that.
That's my story, and I so regretted it in so many ways. And me and my daughters are still healing from that, because there was things that they were exposed to that I would never expose them to. I would never expose them to. We wouldn't arguing and cussing and alcohol in their presence. Like, those things that's not my values. That's not what I live. And so that hurts. And I'm like, we need therapy. We need to work through this so they won't go into toxic relationships themselves. So that's why I'm glad we're having this discussion. And they're going to watch this, because I have teenagers now, and I have,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, I know our time is 7:48. I still have this, the gentleman who's he waited for me because he knew we was going to be in here. But I want to say this really quick. This is such a layered conversation. I think we need to have a part 2.
I think you might be right about that, sis. It's 7:48.
It's 7:48. We've been going in. And I love how we did it. We did all the healing work first, so we can open up. But maybe in the next few days, whenever you have time, we need to finish this, because we still have more questions. We wanted to talk about, what were some other things?
We was going to talk about, how it affects our children emotionally.
Yeah.
Monogamy. How and when should the person be introduced to our children, if at all? We wanted to talk about that. We want to talk about what happens if, what are some indicators in determining if this man is so untrustworthy that he might make a pass at one of your female children.
Come on.
Okay? And with that thought in mind, yeah, exactly, right? With that thought in mind, does that fear of that right there create a steel door for us?
That's where I'm at. I got a shield door right now, because I don't want I will go to jail for something like that. See, I was molested as a youth, and I am grateful that my children haven't experienced any type of trauma in that way.
That's a mother's worst nightmare.
That's my worst nightmare. So that's why I'm just like, let me just wait until they all on about the house, and I know that's probably not realistic, because as we had a conversation before, you start having needs and wants. But I'm glad Tara shared, like, no, it doesn't mean you can't date. You just don't bring that person to the house.
That's true. That is true. We want to talk about all of that, and we even going to kind of get into a little bit more about the mood. So we might need to go ahead and have us a part 2, because we went a little longer than we expected. But that was good because the conversation was divine. It was inspiring, and I'm glad we're dealing with this topic. So
I think we
for that part too.
Yeah, so part 2 will be coming soon. I want to make sure we have time to end with the beautiful Haru chant that you have practiced and shared with us. Always giving that energy to Haru. Key things that I would say we would end this conversation with is what Mekatera has said. Like, first and foremost, no one should be coming to your house until you've first done readings, you've gotten to know that person, and they've already proven that they're compatible with you in some way. You know what I mean? We need to do readings. We have, as Kemetic women, we do spiritual readings. We can't just rely on our own feelings and emotions to make decisions like this. These are life-changing decisions that could negatively affect you and your children. So you need a reading before dating. Even like, I had a sister who wanted just to know, was this even the right time for her to start dating? She was interested in someone. She was like, is the way even open for me to start dating? We're in the midst of Corona right now, so it's like, I don't know what we're doing up out here in these streets. I mean, this just a shutdown for everybody. Like, now I got to worry about if you got Corona. So it's another level. 2020 is another level.
2020 has been a beast on everything.
Yes.
No, I certainly agree with you, sis. Readings are so important, and we're going to get into just how important they are when we talk about part 2, and we're going to deal with just looking at all those other topics, parts of this topic that we didn't get to explore today, to make sure we fully divulge this topic and give the sisters some real jewels to walk away with as they look at what's important and what is needed before you bring a man into that household, before you start exposing your children, even at an outside function, to this new love of your life. Because like you said, when that person comes in, you're happy, you're on a high, you're vibing, you're laughing, and you're good at home. But when that thing goes sour, well, then you're then bringing that energy home.
Yeah.
You're coming home sour, you're frustrated, you're irritable, ill-tempered. So again, we want to look at when it's time to bring this person home, and maybe when it's time just to let them go.
Come on.
Something else you want to keep in mind when he is in the house and you're interacting with him, your children, especially your daughters, are watching this. And this sets a standard for their relationships. Yes. Now, would you want your daughter to have a relationship with a man like that?
Okay.
Would she be attracted to someone like that? This is what she's exposed to.
Right.
My mama did it, and I love my mama. I want to be like my mama, or not. But we don't know. So this is how we protect our children, by not exposing them to the negativity.
Ashe. Thank you so much, Mekatera, for bringing that wisdom. And, thank you, Amakeda, for just a stimulating conversation and all of that positive energy. Let's begin to, it's 7:55. We've been on here talking for a while. We're going to go ahead and end out with giving honor and praises to the energy of Haru, that divine joy, love, abundance. And so I have put let me see if I can share the words with people while you prepare yourself. I'm going to try to find the words. Let me see.
Got my Haru candles here burning and my pink cloth ready.
Yes. Haru, I got some mangoes, some strawberries, and some honey for Haru. I brought her some dandelions because definitely, her energy is just so important, not just in terms of relationships, but in terms of just, no matter what's going on, we still need to invoke that joy and that beauty and just feel good about ourselves. You know what I mean? If it's just getting up and getting yourself looking good and feeling good. And Haru also deals with yoga. She is the root of the word hatha. All right. And astrology and the astrological sciences, so we love everything about her, and we want to invoke her energy. And let's go. Let's get it in.
All right. You ladies can see the words on the screen. I'm hoping that the viewers will later be able to check it out and see the words. I know I had to tap on it to see it, but the words, in case you were not able to see it, are Anejarek Petheru Mer Nefer Unk Nebu. All right. So, and what that translates is Anejarek Petheru, homage. I give homage to the divine energy of Petheru. Mer Nefer Unk Nebu, good life and live strong. I'm sorry, good life and master your life. So you want to just hone into that as we chant these words, and you should be able to see it yourself on the screen. I do apologize for my quick attempt to paraphrase. Good love, master life, absolutely. All right, ladies, let's go ahead and rock out with this chant. Here it goes. Anajarek Haru, Berneferak Nebu. 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 Yeah, I see you rocking, sis. You over there dancing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Dua Snwt, with that beautiful voice and your creativity. You always make you do the Hesse like a mistress, a master of the Hesse. So that's definitely necessary to keep your vibration high, whether
Yes.
you are in a divine relationship with your sacred mate, or you are a mom who is working to raise your children properly in Ma'at. We give thanks for these divine and beautiful lives we've been given. We honor the Netarets, Aset and Haru. And we thank you so much for joining us. We have more coming, more of these divine conversations. So we hope to have more people live, because we decided that we're going to let this be open to all mothers, but we still are going to honor our spirituality and come from our viewpoint of African Kemetic spirituality and its importance for empowering us and helping us to have a better clarity on what is affecting us, the energies that are affecting us, and defining it. Like, this is next level. I'm so excited to even have a discussion about dating on this level where we consider Kemetic spirituality and our values. So, what you want to say, Snwt?
No, I'm just saying I'm excited with you. I'm excited too. I think we have an amazing journey ahead of us, and we're going to keep going and open it up to the moms so they can come in and get that healing, get that support, and just be a part of this network that we have here. So I'm looking forward to our next meeting, and I am so excited. I can't wait.
Yes. Any closing words, Mekatira?
I just want to say thank you for inviting and including me in this discussion.
Oh, we love you.
Yes, we definitely needed your energy and your wisdom and your experience, because sometimes we definitely need to always tap into all the resources we have in our elders and our our divination, our priests and priestesses can help us make the right decision so we won't end up like I was December 2019 and before that, so I'm so grateful for this time. Dua for joining us. To all our sacred sisters, you will see us again, and have be safe, and shimmy a tap.
Peace and love. Shimmy and tap, sister.
Shimmy and tap. We leave you in peace and satisfaction. Dua neta. All right, I think did I leave it? Let me end it. because I do. No, I'm not gonna end it. Hold up. I guess I did. Bye, Mekatira.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening.